everybody. Welcome back to Knitting Butterflies. My name is Emily, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is the day after Thanksgiving, so I am tired, and we had a good Thanksgiving. We just stayed at home with our little family, and I set a goal for myself that the only goal was to have a good meal together, and we definitely did that. So I have to admit I'm feeling a little sad today. So I'm sorry if it comes off across that way, but it is just kind of where I'm at today, and no point in hiding that. But I have been getting a lot of knitting done, and I wanted to share that with you. And yeah. So I thought I would start off with the sweater that I am wearing. I finished my Thin Swaymo project, which was inspired by the Suburban stitcher, where we finished knitting a sweater in the month of November. And the last time I showed it to you, all I had left to do was the sleeves, and they are definitely done. The sleeves are finished, and they're beautiful. They have this beautiful cable along the edge, and then I added thumb holes to mine, but the cuffs are super long, so I can roll the cuffs up, and it looks nice then too. So I tried to make it a pretty flexible wear of a project, but I'll stand up too so you can see it a little bit better. So I like my shirt. So this sweater is really long. It has pockets on it, and the pockets are amazing. Let me see if I can get up and close for you to be able to see that okay. So the pocket is a really beautiful detail that really intimidated me, because you knit to this point, and then you break off and you knit some of the back, and then you put on holders, and then you knit down the front, and then you knit this little strip right here, and then you mattress stitch it on, and then you also knit like a stockinette panel to go on the back of the pocket, and then you mattress stitch that all the way around. And I was pretty intimidated, but I actually got both of the pockets done in one night with no problem. And then I'll show you the back. So it just has lots of cables and lace and some baubles, and it has saddle shoulders. So you start with these shoulders, and then you knit that down, so it has that goes all the way down, and yeah. So I pretty much live in this sweater now. This yarn, I should tell you the yarn. The yarn is Lavender Lune's DK base, which has cashmere in it, and it's so luxurious and so warm and so soft. I feel like this might be the most proud I've ever been of a project ever. The colorway is called Francis. I did not alternate skeins except for where I changed skeins. So like you can see a line right here where I kind of faded into the other one, but honestly, I really don't care at all. And so I thought about alternating skeins throughout and trying to make it perfect, and I decided this was for me, and it doesn't bother me at all. I think it adds some character to it and some depth to it, and I ran out of yarn when I got to the sleeves, and so I asked her to dye up 3 more skeins for me, which ended up being the right amount that I needed to be able to do the pockets as well. And I feel like she matched it pretty well. Like the sleeves, I feel like matched pretty darn well to the rest of it. And so she did a really nice job matching that colorway, even with different dye lots. Like I said, I pretty much live in this sweater now. So there is a little bit of pilling, but it's cashmere, so that's to be expected. And I'll just take really good care of it. And it was such a blast to knit. I would honestly knit this sweater again in a heartbeat. I did the entire body really, really fast. I want to say it took me like 3, maybe 4 weeks to do the body, even with all the cables and stuff. And I loved every minute of it because it was so interesting and so just, it really kept my attention. I had lots of different charts going. I was using my Circa knit counter, which I have not used in forever, but I used it for the sleeves to keep track of my cables and my decreases and how many decreases I've done and things like that. And that was delightful to use. I've not used that tool in a long time, but it was so much fun to knit. I had to stop because I had run out of yarn, and then by the time the yarn came, I had already started other projects that I wanted to finish up. So I would 100% love to knit the sweater again. I hope to knit it again at some point. So that was that project, and I'm incredibly proud of it. So I'm probably just gonna wear it for the rest of the time. It's so warm too. Like, I get really cold easily. I have some body temperature difficulties, and if I'm cold, often I'll take a bath to warm myself up, and I found that putting this on for about a half hour actually warms me up just as well. And I can keep it on for most of the day, and so I do work from home right now, and so being able to wear that at home while I'm doing my work over the phone with clients and things like that has been very nice. So I finished this, and then I also finished another project. I actually finished this one last night, which is why I wanted to hop on now. Oops. Oh no, I did share my, okay. I finished my On the Spice Market shawl. How well can you see this? There we go. So this shawl I had been wanting to make for ages. I'll back up so you can see it a little bit better. This shawl is a pattern by Melanie Berg. Oh, this one is by Locatelli. This is the All of the Lights cardigan. This one is On the Spice Market by Melanie Berg. It's a little bit of an older pattern. And as I talked about, I had a bunch of mini skeins from Knerd string from the Knit Nosh event. And I finally paired it with some Suburban Stitcher yarn from her Advent set 2 or 3 years ago called Jelly of the Month Club. Is this light color that you see here. It's kind of Christmassy. It's got some reds and greens and pinks and things like that. And then I had 5 minis from Knerd Strings, and so I added this dark green from Cascade to round it out. So this was a good project. I have not knit a shawl in years. And I've not knit a shawl for me in years. And so I want to say the last one I did was my What the Fade, which was 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So it's been a while. So I actually kind of forgot how to style shawls, but I think it looks nice. So it's really comfy and really cozy, and yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. So I did alter the pattern quite a bit. This, once you hit these parts right here, it calls for you to actually knit a lot more of each one of these colors, but I knew I wouldn't have enough yarn based on the yardage given to do all of the colors all the way. And so what I did was I did one less repeat of the dark green, and I had planned on doing the same amount of the medium green, and then the medium green ran out. And I think it was because I had used some of the medium green to do a different start. I think I started the shawl earlier, and instead of ripping it out, I just broke it off and kept going. So I think that was a mistake on my part, but it made it run out a little bit sooner. So I just did, there's 8 or 9 rows of this, and then there's 6 rows of this, 6 rows of this, and I went to 4 rows, and then 2 rows in the stretchy bind off. So these sections, this section is significantly slimmer than it normally would be, but I almost kind of like it that way. I wanted it to be more of an accent pop than to be kind of the focus of the shawl. I like these little bobbly things to be kind of the main focus. So I feel like it turned out pretty much exactly how I was hoping it would. I did not use up all of my yarn of the mini skeins though, because I stopped those so early. So I do have a little bit left over that might be good for like some toys or something, or accents or stripes. Maybe I could throw them in as stripes on a couple toys or something. But so that's done as well, but it is way too hot to wear both of them. So that's my On the Spice Market. I am planning on keeping this one. unless I find myself not wearing it, in which case I'll probably give it away. But I'm happy with it. I was happy to use that part of my stash that I've been excited about that part of my stash for a while, and now it finally is getting put to use. So there is that. And then I'm still working, where are my sock blockers? I'm still working on both pairs of socks right now. Let's see. So I finished this first sock in this pair. The shawl kind of took my mindless knitting time a little bit this round. Oops, that's upside down. So I finished the first sock in this pair. It's super pretty. Let me scoot in so you can see it better. There you go. The colors are not quite showing up right. The colors are much more pinkish and soft. I feel like that's looking really harsh and yellowy, and it's not yellowy at all. So I apologize for the color being a little bit off, but this pair of socks is from Spargur Yarn Company. This was one of Will's first batches that he ever dyed in his colorway Desert Sunrise. So I have this, and then I have as much of the second sock done. But it just has some lovely like oranges and reds and pinks and a little bit of turquoise and like an evergreen color and a little bit of gray and some undyed parts and some brown. This was really, really pretty for Thanksgiving and for fall. This was really hitting the fall button for me. So those are on the way. I'm knitting them just like I always do. My vanilla socks are pretty straightforward. I do a tubular cast on 1x1 rib for 15 rounds, and then I do the leg, a fish lips kiss heel, the foot, and then a decreased toe. So that's my recipe for socks that I've knit lots and lots and lots of times. So that pair is on the way. I don't know what his original base was that he was using when he first started dyeing, but it's really soft. It's like surprisingly soft, and I'm curious to know what base it is, because it says it's a 75-25. I'm wondering if this is the Knit Picks base, like their stroll base. I'm not sure, but it's quite lovely, and I'm not sure what base he's using now because this was quite a while ago, but I have a lot left, so I'll have plenty for minis when I'm all done. So that's that pair of socks. And then, did I say I always use a size 1? I always use a size 1 to knit my socks. And then I have another pair of socks that is moving, but it's not done yet. So I have one of the socks finished, and the other one is started. This is not going to look great on the blocker because it's a little bit too big for it, but that's okay. So this is one of the Arne and Carlos Pairfect socks, and the sock is finished. And I talked about this last time, that this is a ball of yarn that it comes with a really high contrast color. So this time it's like this really bright yellow color, and you unwind the yellow and then you start where the yellow ends, and then you knit the sock, you knit it cuff down. So you start from the middle of the ball and you start where the main color starts, and then you knit cuff down, and then when you get to the same color, then you can do the heel, and then you knit until you finish the toe, and then you wind off the rest until you get to that bright color again. And so that way when you're done, you have 2 pairs of matching socks that have a cool stripe sequence. So I love this. I think it's really cool. And I love how this looks like Fair Isle, but I didn't have to knit it. So that's exciting. And then I don't have a lot done on the second sock. I just have the cuff and a little tiny bit of the leg knit up. So I sat and worked on that by the lake today. So that's my car knitting, but I don't go in the car barely at all right now, which is why it's not getting a whole lot of love, but maybe it will sometime. one of my self-care things I like to do is I'll step out and I might go pick up like some Taco John's or something from the drive-thru, and I'll go take it and sit by the lake in my hometown and just listen to a podcast or some music or something that's just for me, and sit and knit if I feel like it, or just sit and just enjoy some time to myself for a few minutes. So that's when that sock gets some love. I'm dropping stuff all over the place. I'm sure you can hear my kids in the background too. So one other project I wanted to finish out, because I'm kind of in a let's finish all my stuff phase right now because I have so many things going. I started a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I started these Fair Isle stockings. Ooh, this looks really rough. Just because it needs might need a wash or a good block. But I've started these Fair Isle stockings, and I actually have 4 of them completely done. I had plans to do 6, and so I've done my 4 kids already. And I had started my husband and hated how it was turning out, and so I ripped it out and I started it again. But in the meantime, I started theirs, and I went ahead and got theirs pretty much done. So I've knit the stockings themselves, and then I need to embroider their names on the front, and then I need to put something to hang it from. I found these 2 when I was cleaning my kids' rooms recently, which is why they're a mess. Gosh, they really could use a wash. They're like covered in dog hair and stuff. But so all 4 of them need to have their names embroidered on them, and then the little hanging thing. Oh, and these I think are called the family portrait stocking pattern. It's a decently costly pattern, but it comes with 3 different Fair Isle patterns and really good instructions and a full alphabet and that kind of stuff. So I feel like it was worth it. So I have the 4. Those 2 of them. The other 2 are probably in the box of Christmas decorations somewhere. And then I pulled out my husband's and went ahead and finished knitting his, or so I thought. I realized that I had only done 12 rows here instead of 20. So I need to rip this out and actually go back and do 20 rows, and then you do a purl row and then 20 more rows, so that I could fold this, because you fold this inside and then you're supposed to sew it inside to kind of make like a thicker cuff on the stocking. I don't know. So I need to actually undo this part and do it. And it was great, and I mean I had started like here, so right after the heel. I had gotten to the heel and then I had put it away. And so I knit all of this in like 2.5 days, maybe even just 2 days. It's a really pretty fast project. I'm doing mine in Knit Picks Wool of the Any Sport. And so it's a pretty fast project, and I got it all done and I was excited, and then my dog showed up and she chewed off the toe. So now I have to cut off the toe and reknit the toe as well. So that was disappointing, but it's not a big deal. It's an easy fix. I'll just cut it off and reknit it, and it's not a big deal. So that was kind of disappointing that happened, especially with how tired of this one I am of working on it. But because like I said, this was the one that I originally started, and I don't really care for how the foot looks in the actual pattern. The foot on mine, so when it hangs, the Fair Isle goes all the way around. And in the original pattern, it has a heel flap and gusset, which I will say does look nicer hanging. So it has a heel flap and gusset, but then like on this bottom half of the foot too, it's mostly blue with the like lines or like dots or things like that. And I just wasn't loving how it was turning out at all. So I've knit the foot of this twice at this point. I ripped it all out and started over. So we'll see. Gosh, this is so messy. It's so full of dog hair. My dog is shedding. So that is that one. So that one needs some more TLC. And so instead of doing that last night, I decided to start mine finally. And so this is how far I am on mine. I started this last night, and I'm really excited about this one. I actually think this might be the prettiest one. And this wasn't even necessarily the color that I wanted. This is the what is this one? Forest Heather. I wanted like a turquoise color, but for some reason I didn't buy a turquoise color. I don't understand. But this has a little tiny bit of turquoise in it. And this pattern, oh, I don't even have that one to show you. This one is going to be the poinsettia version of it. So it has these like poinsettias all over it. And it's going to be really, really pretty. I'll show you my stitch marker from my friend. It says Noel on it. Isn't that cute? My friend Sarah or Bowen? I think, no, this is my friend Sarah that gave that to me. So I'm working on this while watching The Crown. And that is my happy place right now. I love knitting stranded color work so much. And I feel like, I told my husband, I said, I feel like for so many knitters, like having the line of the Fair Isle stockings is kind of like a knitter goal for a lot of people. And I'm hoping to have that this year. We will see. That is the goal. Christmas is still quite a ways away, and I have plenty of time to finish it in time for Christmas, but I gotta wash all of them and block all of them and get all the finishing work done on all of them. And for some reason that doesn't sound terribly pleasant right now, but I'll get it done and it'll be great. So, oh, I should say I'm knitting these, like I said, it's Knit Picks Wool Andy Sport. I knit the stockinette part on 3s, and then I knit the Fair Isle part on 4s so that they look nice together. So that is actually all of the knitting that I have, and we're right at about 20 minutes. So I thought it would be nice to share with you what I am working on. Advent starts on Sunday, and just because I have it right here, I thought I would show you this book I'm excited about that I will be using for Advent this year. This is called Honest Advent by Scott Erickson. This book is 25 readings for Advent and Christmas, and it's basically just kind of being amazed at the concept of the female body and pregnancy as we contemplate the birth of Christ. And so Scott is one of my favorite artists. I would love to have a ton of work in my office someday when I have an office. It's like, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I want to find some of my favorite pieces for you. And he posts these on Instagram. This is one of my favorites. This is a recreation of a famous painting of Eve and Mary standing together. So I just feel like he just has such beautiful work. So that is the book I'll be reading during Advent. And I'm curious to hear what you all are planning on doing as we enter that season. For those of you who observe it, I would love to hear what you are planning on doing. If you have specific readings or things like that, I think Sarah Bessie has a really great Advent guide. Maybe it's Lent. I don't know. But I know Sarah Bessie has done writings for Advent in the past, and there are a lot of really wonderful writers out there and stuff. So I'd love to hear what you're doing. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as ButterflyEM4. So if you want to see more photos of my knitting or just life in general, feel free to follow me there. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.